May 8, 1943. North Atlantic, 300 miles west of Ireland. Rain lashes the grey sea as U-106, a Type IXB submarine, rides the swells like a wounded beast. Inside the narrow hull, the air is thick with diesel fumes and sweat. Every surface glistens with condensation. The smell of oil, metal, and fear is impossible to escape. Kapitänleutnant Jürgen Oesten leans over the plotting table, his fingers tracing a convoy route recently intercepted by Enigma decrypts. The British call it convoy ONS-5, 42 merchant ships crawling toward Halifax under heavy escort. To Oesten, this should have been an easy hunt. He looks up from the chart and mutters, "We have hunted these seas for 3 years. The Atlantic belongs to us." The younger crewmen nod, their faces ghostly under the red light of the control room. But outside, the storm hides something new, invisible eyes that no U-boat captain had ever faced before. The Allied air patrols have extended their reach. Long-range B-24 Liberators fitted with Lee lights now scour the mid-Atlantic gap, guided by radar that can pierce through the blackest night. And on the surface, the convoys no longer sail blind. High-frequency direction finding, Huff-Duff, pinpoints every German transmission within seconds. Still, Oesten gives the order, "Alarm! Dive!" The klaxon blares. The men move in practiced chaos, ladders, hatches, the hiss of compressed air. The submarine sinks into the depths, the outside world fading into a murky blue-gray silence. Sonar pings begin, distant at first, then sharper. The enemy knows they're here. "Depth charges," whispers the chief engineer. Moments later, the first explosion rocks the hull, showering rust and condensation from the ceiling. Another, and another. The lights flicker, pipes rattle, a man crosses himself. For the first time in the Atlantic campaign, Oesten realizes something has changed. The ocean, once their hunting ground, has turned against them. The hunters are being hunted. May 15, 1943, Lorient Submarine Base, France. The massive concrete pins echo with the sound of repair hammers and distant sirens. U-boats limp home one after another, scarred, oil-streaked, or not at all. Inside the office's briefing room, cigarette smoke coils toward the ceiling as weary captains take their seats. Oesten studies the faces around him. Many are young, barely 30, yet their eyes look decades older. At the head of the table stands Admiral Karl Donitz, the architect of Germany's U-boat arm. His voice, normally sharp and commanding, trembles with controlled fury. 43 boats lost this month, he says. 43. Silence. The number is unthinkable. Each U-boat carries about 50 men. Over 2,000 sailors lost in a single month. Donitz slams his fist on the table. "Our wolfpacks are being destroyed before they strike. The enemy knows our positions, before we even surface." Oesten listens, expression unreadable. He remembers the night he first commanded a U-boat in 1940, the thrill of the hunt. The easy kills against unescorted convoys. The belief that they were Germany's invisible hand throttling Britain's lifeline. Now, in the spring of 1943, that illusion is dead. British and American cooperation has turned the tide. New escort carriers bring air power to the middle of the ocean. ASDIC sonar, Huff-Duff, and radar-equipped aircraft make ambushes nearly impossible. Even Enigma, the once unbreakable cipher machine, has been compromised, though the Germans do not yet know it. Donitz's adjutant reads casualty reports. U-125, depth charged. All hands lost. U-438, destroyed by a Sunderland patrol. U-659, collision during attack, sank instantly. Oesten closes his eyes. He can almost feel the pressure of the deep, the creaking steel as compartments collapse. These are not isolated losses. This is annihilation. After the meeting, he walks the docks where survivors stagger off their boats. A machinist's mate from U-223 collapses to his knees, whispering that the sea itself has turned against them. Oesten puts a hand on his shoulder, but says nothing. That night, as he stands on the conning tower, looking out over the harbor lights, the thought he's buried for months surfaces. The Atlantic is no longer ours. May 24, 1943, Mid-Atlantic. Aboard U-106. The diesel engines thrum steadily as Oesten's boat prowls beneath the surface. The mission: intercept another Allied convoy west of the Azores. But radio silence fills the ether. The once busy U-boat channels, crackling with coded chatter, sightings, and kill reports, are now disturbingly empty. "Where are the others?" his second officer mutters. "We should have 5 boats in this area." Oesten doesn't answer. He knows the truth. Most of them are gone. The hydrophone operator suddenly stiffens. "Propellers, sir, multiple contacts. Bearing 085. A convoy." Oesten orders the boat to periscope depth. Through the misted lens, he glimpses hulking silhouettes, Liberty ships. Their decks stacked with crates, trucks, even aircraft parts. The Atlantic lifeline to Britain, endless, unstoppable. Range: 2.000 meters, says the weapons officer. Oesten exhales slowly. "Prepare torpedoes 1 through 4. Target the lead ship." But before the command can leave his lips, a sharp tone screams through the cabin, the radar detector. Enemy aircraft approaching. The lookout barely makes it down the hatch before the U-boat crash dives. Moments later, depth charges rain from above. The sea convulses, green light, darkness, and thunder. The hull groans. A pipe bursts near the galley, spraying boiling water across the deck. Men shout over the roar. One torpedo man slams the hatch shut, sealing himself off to save the rest. Oesten grips the periscope column, teeth clenched as the sub drops past 160 meters. Deeper than safe limits. "Hold her steady." The engineer calls out, "We can't stay down long. Batteries at 40%. The explosions fade. Then silence. The sea presses in, cold and heavy. The men barely breathe. Oesten finally whispers, "Surface at dusk." Hours later, when the submarine breaks the surface, the ocean is calm again, but empty. The convoy is gone. The radio crackles with a single message from U-230, "Attacked. Damaged. Returning to base." Oesten writes in his logbook that night, "The Atlantic has changed. The enemy sees in the dark. They hear us before we hear them. Our greatest weapon, stealth, has vanished." He closes the book. The ink trembles from the vibration of the engines, as though the sea itself is laughing at the words. May 30, 1943, Lorient, France. The smell of salt and oil hangs heavy over the pens as U-106 returns from patrol. The concrete walls, once symbols of German power, now feel like tombs. Men who went to sea just weeks ago are missing, their bunks empty, their mugs still on the shelf. Oesten steps off the gangplank and salutes the dock officer. The salute is returned, but without conviction. Everyone has seen the numbers. The U-boat arm has lost 1/4 of its operational force in a single month. At headquarters, Oesten delivers his patrol report. No ships sunk. 1 engagement aborted. 2 close calls with aircraft. The clerk stamps it without looking up. There are dozens like it on the desk. He walks past the operations map, a great board of the Atlantic covered in red and blue pins. Once, the red U-boat markers dominated the ocean. Now, they are scattered like dying embers, shrinking back toward France. Beside him, a younger officer murmurs, "It's over, isn't it?" Oesten doesn't answer. He simply watches as another red pin is quietly removed. That night, he meets with several surviving captains at a tavern near the port. The laughter is forced, the schnapps untouched. Otto Kretschmer, once the most successful U-boat ace, is a prisoner in Britain. Gunther Preen is gone. Joachim Schepke, gone. The legends of the Wolfpack are now ghosts. A younger lieutenant breaks the silence. They've turned the tide with machines. He says bitterly, radar, sonar, codebreakers, we can't fight machines. Oesten looks at him, eyes hollow. No, they turned the tide with cooperation. Every ship, every aircraft, every radio working together. We never stood a chance against that. Outside, thunder rolls over the harbor. The war still rages. Kursk looms in the east. Italy trembles in the south, but here, on the edge of the Atlantic, Oesten knows the truth that few dare to speak aloud. The Battle of the Atlantic is lost. In a private report to Admiral Donitz, he writes, "Our ocean fortress has fallen. The Allies own the sky, the sea, and the silence between. To send men out now is to send them to their graves." He sets down his pen, staring at the ink drying on the page. For 3 years, the U-boats had starved Britain and defied the world. But in Black May 1943, the tide of war turned, not with an explosion, but with realization. From this moment forward, Germany's wolfpacks would never again roam the Atlantic as masters, only as survivors. End.